Okay, so now we're going to go over a review for the Chapter 4 test. If you look at page 37 in your packets, you're definitely going to have to know how to find the slope. So, let's look at A. 2, 3, 4, negative 2. We label our first set of points x sub 1, y sub 1, x sub 2, y sub 2. We know that m equals y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So in this case, we get negative 2 minus 3 over 4 minus 2, negative 5 over 2. That's our slope. Then we look at B. We have 9 comma 2, negative 5 comma 2. Label these x sub 1, y sub 1, x sub 2, y sub 2. M equals 2 minus 2 over negative 5 minus 9. And that equals 0 over negative 14. We know it's okay to have 0 on the top, but no 0 on the bottom. So if 0's on the top, it's a 0 slope. If it's 0 underneath, it's undefined. And then for C, we had negative 2, 4, 3, 5, 5 minus 4 over 3 minus negative 2, and this would be 1/5. Okay? Now, for D, we're still going to use the slope formula, except this time they give you the slope, but you're missing a coordinate. So we're still going to set it up as m equals, slope equals, y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. I can simplify. 4 minus 2 is 2. And now I apply the cross product property rule. So 8 equals 5 minus y. Subtract 5. I get 3 equals negative y, which means y equals 3. Now, we can mentally check this answer. 5 minus 3 is 2. Oh, that's wrong. See, I caught my mistake. This should be negative 3. And 5 minus negative 3 is 8. Over 4 over 2 is 2, and 8 over 2 is 4, so this works. So our answer was negative 3. And see, I found my mistake because I went to check. Now, we did the rest of 37 in class. So let's look at 38. On page 38, you're asked to find the x and y intercepts. Now, to find the x and y intercepts, to find the x-intercept, I have to let y equal 0. To find the y-intercept, I have to let x equal 0. So I taught you 2 different ways to do this. One way is I can write 2x plus 3 times 0 equals 6 to find the x-intercept. That goes away, so 2x equals 6, x equals 3. So the x-intercept is 3. Then I would say 2 times 0 plus 3y equals 6 to find the y-intercept. 2 times 0 goes away, 3y equals 6, y equals 2. So in that case, the y-intercept is 2, the x-intercept is 3. But I also taught you the more popular cover-up method, where we do our little t-cell. I let x equal 0, I let y equal 0. When x equals 0, I cover that up. 3y equals 6, so y equals 2. When y equals 0, I cover that up. 2x equals 6, so x equals 3. So Here I get the y-intercept is 2 and the x-intercept is 3. So I think the cover-up method is the easier method. So we'll try another one of these. We'll do number 2 is pretty straightforward. So let's look at number 4. Now, number 4, this I can't use the cover-up method because x and y are not on the same side. So I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides. And now I'll apply the cover-up method. So if I let x equals 0, y equals negative 10 over 7, don't worry that it's an improper fraction. And if I let y equal 0, then x equals 10 over 4, or 5/2. Okay, now we did the rest of those in class, but you definitely need to know how to find the x and y intercepts. Now, let's try to graph using the x and y intercept. So this equation, there'd be 2 different ways that you could graph it. Okay, one way is, and if you're more comfortable, just put it into slope-intercept form. So now, 3/7 x minus 2. b equals negative 2. M equals 3 over 7. This is my rise. This is my run. So now I'm going to start at negative 2. And it was rising 3. I'm going to rise 1, 2, 3, run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's one way to graph it, slope-intercept form. Another way is to find the x and y intercepts. If x is 0, y is negative 2, and that's exactly what we got. But if y is 0, x is 14/3. Now, 14/3 is almost 5. And if you see here, where we went through was almost 5. So if I had graphed it using the x and y intercepts, I still would have gotten the same line. Now remember, you're allowed to graph any way you want. So if you like using the x and y intercepts, do that. Now, if we look at number 8, number 8 says 3y equals 4x minus 3. Okay? Now, here, I can't just say m equals 4 and b equals negative 3. And think about why. So, the reason is, this is not in slope-intercept form because the y is not isolated. So I have to divide everything by 3. So y equals 4/3 x minus 1. Now I say m equals 4 over 3. It's my rise over my run. And b equals negative 1. And this is where I start. So I start at negative 1. I rise 1, 2, 3, 4. And run 1, 2, 3. I could do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. And this is my line. Okay? So remember, if you're going to use slope-intercept form, you have to make sure your y is isolated. Once you isolate your y, you identify your b, that's where you start, then you rise and run according to the slope. You do have to know how to graph for the test. But again, I don't care if you graph using x and y intercepts or if you graph using slope-intercept form. So now, let's look at page 39, and let's look at some of the special cases. We have y equals 4 for number 11. This is what we call a HOI. Okay, a HOI, this stands for horizontal. which means I'm going to have a horizontal line. It's going to go this way, where a vertical line, a vux, will go this way. So I find where y is 4, and I draw a horizontal line. So that's y equals 4. Now, number 12 is x equals 2. This is a vux. This stands for vertical, up and down. So I find where x is 2, and I draw a vertical line. Okay? And now, if we look at page 40, it says, are these lines parallel? Now, to determine if these are parallel, I have to look at the slopes, because if they have the same slope and a different y-intercept, then they are parallel. Very easy to identify this slope because it's in slope-intercept form. This form, though, is not so easy, so I have to change the form. I subtract 4x from both sides, divide by 8, and I get y equals -1/2 x plus 3/2, and that means the slope is -1/2. So I would say no, not parallel, different slopes. Now, if they had been parallel, my explanation could just be same slope. Okay? So, now, for this chapter 4 test, you have to know how to find the slope, how to find the x and y intercept, how to identify the slope and the intercept, how to identify parallel lines, how to graph lines. You have to know about transformations of equations and the parent function. You have to know if I give you an x and a y, is it direct variation? So last night's homework, or the homework where you did problems in the back of the book, was a great review. And also a great review are problems on page 273 to 275. And, you know, the page 37 to 40, and review quiz 4D, 4C, and the chapter 4A test.